AMD has just posted a list of upcoming Ryzen 2000 series processors which will be featured in the mainstream and high-end CPU families. The CPUs were listed in AMD's product master document, which enlists their entire product stack including microprocessors, APUs, graphics processors, GPU cards, and chipsets. AMD Ryzen 2000 and Ryzen Threadripper 2000 series processors spotted. Naming schemes confirmed. The listings were found by Videocardz through the huge array of products, and now we know what the new products will be known as. AMD has already released their first Ryzen 2000 series desktop family processors, which are part of the Ryzen 7 and Ryzen 5 segments. AMD also has plans for the Ryzen 3 lineup, which will include at least two products, the Ryzen 3 2100 and the Ryzen 3 2300X. It seems like AMD will also offer a new Ryzen 5 part known as the Ryzen 5 2500X. Related AMD Q1 2018 quarterly earnings breakdown. Breakout quarter amidst cryptocurrency boom and CPU success story. AMD Ryzen 2000 upcoming desktop processors. It looks like the AMD Ryzen 5 2500X will be an entry-level quad-core chip in the Ryzen 5 family, while the Ryzen 3 2300X is expected to remain a quad-core with 4 threads. The Ryzen 3 2100 naming scheme reveals that this could be a dual-core chip with 4 threads, although we can't say for sure. Based on the codenames, the X-series chips will feature a 65W TDP, while the Ryzen 3 2100 can feature a lower TDP than that. AMD Ryzen Threadripper 2000 upcoming high-end desktop processors. AMD is also going to launch a new generation of Ryzen Threadripper 2000 series processors based on their 12nm Zen core design. Related, NVIDIA and AMD graphics card AIBs are expecting a plunge in demand of up to 40% in April. This lineup will retain all the benefits we have seen on the recently launched Pinnacle Ridge processors, such as higher clock speeds, enhanced DDR4 support, and lower latencies, while offering support on the X399 platform with new solid designs and high-end I/O features. The 3 new processors in the lineup would include Ryzen Threadripper 2950X 16-core, 32-thread, Ryzen Threadripper 2920X 12-core, 24-thread, Ryzen Threadripper 2900X 8-core, 16-thread, AMD Ryzen 2000. Upcoming mobility processors. On the mobility front, AMD will be offering 3 new Ryzen 2000 series processors that will be part of the U-series lineup, which means that they are aimed at ultra-low power devices. AMD is definitely working on a flagship Ryzen 7 2800U chip, which will be faster than the current Ryzen 7 2700U while retaining the 15W TDP. We can expect a clock speed and GPU clock bump on this part. The CPU will retain 4 cores and 8 threads. The next chip would be the Ryzen 5 2600U, which comes with 4 cores and 8 threads too, and can be considered a faster SKU than the Ryzen 5 2500U that is currently available on mobility products. Lastly, we have the Ryzen 3 2000U, which is an entry-level mobility chip with 2 cores and 4 threads. This would feature lower clocks and a slightly cut-down Vega graphics core, but pricing on this part would be really lower compared to the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 parts. Upcoming AMD Ryzen 2000 series processors. Processor name, codename, processor family, processor course, processor threads. Ryzen Threadripper 2950X YD295X AAPU GAAF AMD Ryzen Threadripper 20,001,632 Ryzen Threadripper 2920X YD292X AAPU C9AF AMD Ryzen Threadripper 20,001,224 Ryzen Threadripper 2900X YD290X AAPU 8QAF AMD Ryzen Threadripper 2,816 Ryzen 5 2500X YD250X BBM 4KAF AMD Ryzen 2000 Desktop 48 Ryzen 3 2300X YD230X BBM 4KAF AMD Ryzen 2000 Desktop 48 Ryzen 3 2100 YD210 BC6 M20FB AMD Ryzen 2000 Desktop 24 Ryzen 7 2800U YM2800 C3T4 MFB AMD Ryzen 2000 Mobility 48 Ryzen 5 2600U YM2600 C3T4 MFB AMD Ryzen 2000 Mobility 48 Ryzen 3 2000U YM200U C4T20FB AMD Ryzen 2000 Mobility 24